So Real Madrid devour Legia Warsaw 5-1, and still the headlines read Cristiano Ronaldo has only scored one of their last 13 goals. Anyway, Cristiano Ronaldo assisted on 2 of those goals, yes. As some people on Twitter pointed out to me, they probably would have still won if you removed those assists. But it just, before I get into a couple of points, it's just like, do we not learn our lesson? Yes, he's not scoring every single week the way you'd expect Ronaldo. I never expected him to do this either going forward. The guy's getting a little bit older, but he's still contributing to his team. He's still playing decent, still playing pretty well. I thought he had a good game today, but it's just, we only measure Ronaldo based on what's quantifiable. And even when he is providing quantifiable stats, like 2 assists, he's only 2 behind Ryan Giggs, ready to break another record for most assists and goals scored in the Champions League. Jesus Christ, the guy will never win unless he is banging in 3-4 goals a game. And I'm not a Ronaldo apologist, a sympathizer, a butt licker, or whatever other weird statement you want to put in my way. But I just want to state that we need to stop zoning in on things that are irrelevant. They won 5-1. He provided 2 assists. Just because he didn't score, it's not a demise of Cristiano Ronaldo. Trust me, I will eat my own words and a piece of clothing, my pocket square, if by the end of the year Ronaldo's went through a disastrous dip in goals. I'm not saying that he won't maybe score less goals this year than what he has done, but the guy's been scoring at such a ridiculous rate ever since he stepped foot in Real Madrid that he's given himself just ridiculous expectations that if he doesn't hit that, then people think that he's playing bad when he's actually playing probably better than what most people's average season would be. So let's just chill. Anyway, 5-1, Real Madrid won. I'm going to give you an overall consensus. None of these games were so captivating to me that I wanted to zone in on one. I mean, as you see from the title, I'm going to talk about Leicester, and rightfully so. I'm going to just play into this completely outlandish thought that Leicester could repeat what they did in the Premier League and the Champions League, because why not? They're playing horrible in the league. They're by no means living up to their expectations. Another poor performance at the weekend, losing to Chelsea. But when it comes to the Champions League, there's a certain sense of belief. There's a certain sense that they can go on and win. At the King Power Stadium, they look pretty dominant. Yes, they're not playing great teams. Copenhagen aren't exactly the Real Madrids of the Danish league? Norwegian? I don't know. Anyway, but Leicester City winning at home, looking hard to beat. 1 goal, that's exactly how they won the Premier League, if I have to remind you, just winning 1 goal towards the end of the season. So I want to congratulate them, and I want to believe that everyone should get behind Leicester, and maybe we see this momentum move forward. When they get into the round of 16, it's 2 games. It's not like they have to play all these group matches. I would have thought it was harder for Leicester to progress into the group stage than what it would be to go far in the tournament once you get into the round of 16, because the Champions League has proven in the past that anything can happen. Liverpool winning against AC Milan. Didn't play well in the league that year, but they still did pretty good. Chelsea beating Bayern Munich that season where they were mediocre in the league. Roberto Di Matteo guided them to that Champions League win, despite the fact that they were pretty poor throughout the season. So crazier things have happened, and I am firmly with the belief that as long as we get behind Leicester City, you never know what will happen. So going back to Real Madrid for a second, good varied goal scorers. They had Marcelo, who scored, obviously, in the goal. It was an own goal, it was considered, actually, so I don't think it was actually granted to Marcelo. Gareth Bale, Asensio, Lucas Vazquez, and Morata. Lucas Vazquez, Morata, Asensio, these are the guys that are considered depth players to them, coming off the bench to provide and help get them over that line. They look very good. The depth of Real Madrid is, I would say, one of the best in the world, despite the fact they never really strengthened in the transfer window to the point where everyone expected them to. But as I mentioned, Morata coming in, this is the last 2 Champions League games that he's been vital for them. Came off the bench when he was set up by James Rodriguez, and I think the Zinedine Zidane's using him well. I think Morata will be chomping at the bit, want to play more, want to be preferred over Benzema, but as long as he keeps doing what he's doing, Real Madrid are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Elsewhere in the Champions League, I will go out there and say that Aubameyang has scored one of the best goals I've seen in the Champions League yet this year. An early contender, composed finish, dinking it over the goalkeeper, beautifully worked. They had a minor blip as they conceded, but they still won 2-1, so good victory for Borussia Dortmund, good victory for Juventus. Tottenham Hotspur struggling again away from home against the informed Bayer Leverkusen, to be fair. Chicharito Hernandez usually firing in all cylinders, looking to come back and haunt another English team that probably would have doubted him along with everyone else. But the game was rather dreary. It was one of the first ones that I had on my screen. Referee was a little up and down, to be fair, but trying to split my eyes amongst all the games, it didn't grab my attention so much so. So Porto get a win over Club Brugge. Sevilla beating Dinamo Zagreb. As I mentioned, Bayern, Leverkusen and Tottenham 0-0. Dortmund, as I mentioned, beating Sporting, and Juventus winning. Real Madrid winning, and Monaco sharing evens with Moscow, and of course Leicester City winning 1-0. So the overall consensus, it's good to have the Champions League back. It's good to see Real Madrid banging in goals on all cylinders, looking confident, again unbeaten in the Champions League, and still looking very good overall. And the question is now, where are our attentions now focused in the Champions League? We're midway through. Leicester looking prize position. I'd assume that Dortmund and Real Madrid were going to go through in their group. Tottenham really need to pick it up. But our attention now turns to tomorrow. Because, my God, of course I'm excited. Celtic have and host Borussia Mönchengladbach, Manchester City and Barcelona taking part. I would hope that Barcelona beat Manchester City, putting them further down, and increasing Celtic's very minimal, but still there, possibility of getting something out of this group. And of course, we need to beat Borussia Mönchengladbach. So stay tuned tomorrow. I'll either be delighted, sad, exhausted, sweaty, crying, all of the above. That's Champions League Day when you are a Celtic fan. Francis_Maxwell on Twitter, Francis Maxwell Host on Instagram. Head over there, man. I'm not getting your love on Instagram. What's going on? Follow for a follow. I thought that was a thing. Catch you guys soon.